This Antichrist is a role, much like a movie role. This is a character that is assumed, or better yet, assigned. It is a part played by an actor. It is a function or part performed especially in a particular operation or process. It is a job, a position, it is work. It is a part, it is a purpose, it is a task. It is a function of office. There are several characters who have been auditioning for it. They are testing or trying out for this act, this position, this part. Each of these characters have agents who have been priming them since before birth. Some of these characters even have doubles. Those are the doppelgangers. What's a doppelganger? It's a ghostly counterpart of a living person. They have these doubles as fail mechanisms. Okay? The person who fits the role the best will be crowned as such. Just like with any audition, the best man wins, right? The world is a stage and the greatest play is imminent upon us. If you are of the light, you cannot afford to fall for the ruse. Okay? What I present here will be a preponderance of evidence. I believe that this character has already been chosen based on his excellent acting skills. However, this decision is not set in stone, and if need be, the next best person can be tapped to fill the role, okay? But I think it's pretty much been decided. And also note, these characters are drawing their energy from the real ones. So the royal ones are under attack, very much an attack at this time, because they have to harvest that energy that will propel them to that level of activity. Generally, the royals are attacked by the politicians, the stars, the scientists, because they have to get that much energy to propel them to the next level. Who is the Antichrist? Is it a person or a kingdom or just a general spirit? Maybe it's all of the above, yeah? Is he here already? Is his kingdom manifest already? See, we should be able to decipher who or what this is in this age of revelation when everything is being revealed. So this video is my humble effort to provide the preponderance of evidence on who this reprobate is. This is part of a series, I don't know, maybe 2, 3, or 4 series, okay? So welcome to the divine platform. Welcome to the enduring saints, children of God, the anointed, the appointed, the intelligentsia, the literati, and everyone else. Thank you for tuning in. Please, if the message resonates with you, like, share, and subscribe. And we need to wake up as many of our brothers and sisters as we possibly can as we head to the end of time. All I do here is for the edification of the Most High and for the restoration of His kingdom. Most of the information I reveal in here is already out there. However, some of the information has not been organized or presented the way I will do it. At least I haven't seen it elsewhere. So first I will define what Christ is, and then in a different presentation I will break down who Christ is. And then next I will define the Antichrist by breaking down the word. The Antichrist is a compound word. I will break it into its constituent parts and look at the definitions of each of those constituent parts. Each of the definitions are connected to the reprobate who claims to be. And these words, the constituent words, provide the preponderance of evidence. See, generally, as the case may be, I have found quite often that the word used to describe a person often contains the meaning they are in, you know. So their word, if you break it down, contains the characteristics that point to that person that it's describing, or the thing, you know, or the activity. It points to that. So after I break down the word, I will use the biblical reference to show who this character is in this format. Little horn, as in Daniel's final vision. That's from the book of Daniel. Then I will show how he is a man of sin. as is referenced in, I think, Thessalonians, and finally as the beast of the sea, as is talked about in Revelation. I will also discuss other relevant topics, though not directly related to this particular subject, but you'll see how they all tie in at the end. I might also delve into topics that seem irrelevant, but like I said, just stay. I'm recording this and I've just had a glitch, so some of the words might skip, Apple sucks, the Mac, It does this to me so many times. So who is the Christ? That's the Messiah, that's Jesus. It's an ideal type of humanity. And in Christian science, Christ is the ideal truth that comes as a divine manifestation of God to destroy incarnate error. And remember my the video on hierarchy of truth, I talk about error and error. It's the same thing here. In Wikipedia, Christ, the Messiah, and a title, and ambiguously it refers to Jesus. It is also used as a title in the reciprocal use Christ Jesus, meaning the Messiah Jesus, and independently as the Christ. I have to point something out here. It's both a name and a title. It is first a name and then a title. Something must be named first. You must recognize it and name it first before you give it a title. So for example, if I give you a title to a house, the house must exist on the land first. So there's a house, there's a tree, there's a mountain. So I'm naming that a house. That's a name. And then I can give you title to it. So the name comes before the title. I just need to clarify that. So, as is always the case on the divine platform, is definitions. We always must be very clear what we are talking about. What are the terms and definitions? Okay, the Antichrist is one who denies or opposes Christ. And when it's used in an exaggerated way, it describes a person regarded as a powerful and malevolent adversary, usually used with the, like the Antichrist. Okay? He is the polar opposite and ultimate enemy of Christ, and he will reign terribly in the period prior to the last judgment. This Antichrist term also refers to people prophesied or prophesied by the Bible to oppose Jesus Christ and substitute themselves in Christ's place before his second coming. The second coming is the last judgment, like I just showed. So Jesus warned his disciples not to fall for false prophets who will claim themselves as being Christ, performing great signs and wonders. Okay? And this definition goes on to talk about the little horn, the man of sin, the beast of the sea, which are the characteristics that I'll talk about in part 2 of this presentation. So now let's examine the very word and see how within the word is described, or there's the attributes of the Antichrist. So Antichrist or Antichrist can be written as Antichrist. So this is one way you can break it down. The other way is Antichrist, Antifa. Anyway, this is Antichrist. That's what I'll be talking about. So the first one here is a question, Antichrist. The spelling could be a little bit different, like Antichrist or Ain't I Christ. That's simple and clear. It's similar to me saying, ain't I your friend? Like, I am your friend, right? Ain't I your friend? So this person is asking whether or not they are Christ. So they are suggesting or alleging or outright claiming, to be Christ. And now we see here this character says he's the Messiah. So he's in essence saying, ain't I the Messiah? Or I am the Messiah, okay? And I Christ, and I'm saying, no, you ain't Christ. So just still playing with the same words. this is not an anagram. Is it an anagram? When you rearrange the letters, I think it's an anagram. You ain't Christ. And you know, this word, when you use it in English, they say, oh, that's wrong. But language is language, you know. But that's the first, I'm tying him to that definition. Second Thessalonians chapter 2 verses 3 to 4 says, let no man deceive you by any means, for that day shall not come, except there come a falling away first, and that man of sin be revealed, the son of perdition, who opposes and exalts himself above all that is called God, or that is worshipped, so that he as God sits in the temple of God, showing himself that he is God. Okay, now let's go to the next definition, ant. We're going to look at the word ant in Antichrist. And it says, any of a family Formidae of colonial hymenopterous insects with a complex social organization and various castes performing special duties. What word jumps out at you from this definition? Colonial? Maybe complex social organization? See, life should be simple. And then organization, you know, there's always this organization, that organization. What organization do you work for? Oh, I started this organization, you know. Caste systems, special duties, always special ops, you know. So I will focus on this word, hymenopterous or hymenopterous. It's pronounced differently by different people. Okay. And this word itself is a compound word. So we have hymen pterosaurus. Okay. This is a pterosaur with a hymen, with a membrane. So it is a pterosaur. And what is that? It's any of an order of extinct flying reptiles. Okay? Existing from the late Triassic throughout the Jurassic and most of the Cretaceous, and having a featherless wing membrane extending from the side of the body along the arm to the end of the greatly elongated fourth digit. Elongated fourth digit should tell you who these people are already, as you can tell. The etymology is from Greek, pteron for wing and sauros for lizard. George Soros, is it George Soros or George Soros? Okay. And then we see here, so this is a lizard. This Soros is a lizard. We have hymen pterosaurus. Is it like Sotero? If you rearrange this, you get Sotero. And this is silent, or you can say Soptero, like Barry Sotero. Am I reaching, guys? What do you think? I don't think so. But if I am, show me how. Okay? Now let's look at this pterosaur. It says scientists discover an adorable. How is this adorable? How is this adorable? Okay? Well, a pterosaur is a bat, or a bat is a class of a pterosaur. And he says, I am Batman. This character says he's Batman. So he's connecting himself to the ant definition in pterosaur. Antichrist, the ant, he's connecting himself to that by making these claims. So he's really auditioning hard for this role, okay? He accedes to being a bat. He's in essence agreeing that he's a pterosaur, he's a reptilian, he's a Draco, okay? At least one of him is admitting to that. See, they're doppelgangers. I don't even know that word. Okay. Let's look at ants. Ants have colonized almost every landmass on Earth. They may exceed the combined biomass of wild birds and mammals. And I hope you have watched People Who Is Who, which is a series on this channel, part of the Anchor videos, okay? Because it shows that the real ones are maybe just 10 to 11%, okay? Their success is attributed to their social organization and ability to modify habitats. They're always modifying habitats. They come to your land and they're changing it up, switching it up, okay? Tap resources and defend themselves, okay? Their long coevolution with other species has led to mimetic, that is mimicry, commensal, that's obtain food or resources without damaging the other. And this is impossible unless this is what was preordained by the Most High initially. So it cannot be commensal unless it was preordained by the Most High. And then they are also parasitic. Okay, that means they are sycophantic or psychopathic. That is, they obtain favor by flattery. Stay away from such, okay? And then there's mutual dependence. Now, tell me how this is possible. Tell me. And I have to explain something here. Bees are of the order of the tarot, hymenoptera. Oh, that sounds like tarot, like the tarot cards, by the way. The tarot, okay. Bees are of the order of the hymenopteras. So are they the same? No. See, what happens is that these reprobates, these demonic creatures, through manipulation, produce creatures that imitate the real ones. And then these fake creatures assume the identity of the real ones. And then this creates a lot of confusion. Again, watch People Who Is People, People Who Is Who. You'll see how these guises happen with both people and other insects and animals. I didn't talk about those, but it happens with those too, okay? This is an interesting read. Please read through it. Now, this is the morphology of an ant, and this is from the movie Aliens. So these are Dracos, and it's telling us with an antenna. It's these people are here already, you know, they're here already, and they're here. Okay, I will play this. This is a little segue. I'll have another one. You know, I always have those segues in these presentations. It talks about this pterosaurs, and I want to show you something here. Pterosaurs spanned a wide range of adult sizes, from the very small anurognathids to the largest known flying creatures, including Quetzalcoatl and Hatzegotyrex, which reached wingspans of at least 9 meters. I want to talk about this Quetzalcoatl, you know. Who is that? Because in certain, the native in quotation marks Americans, you know, that's a god to them. And they have so many statues of these reptiles, like I showed in People Who's Who, you know. This is a god to them. You know, the feathered serpent is their god. So we see who these people are revering, you know. You read up on that. And a bat, bats are pterosaurs. Yeah, and I want to make this clear. So when this character says that he's Batman, he admits to being a pterosaur. Yeah, I just want to make clear how this connects. Because bats are mammoths of the order Chiroptera, which is the pterosaur. And here we see largest Australian pterosaur ever discovered was a bat on steroids. And we'll see Australia again when I talk about the T in the Antichrist. Okay? Okay, now next, let's look at the second definition of ant. So, as an abbreviation of antenna and antonym. Okay, antonym means opposite. So it simply means the opposite of Christ, yeah? But let's look at antenna. What's an antenna? It's one of a pair of slender, movable, segmented sensory organs on the head of insects, myriapods, and crustaceans. Okay, it's also usually a metallic device such as a rod or wire for radiating or receiving radio waves. Okay, this is those insects, the pterosaurs, and this is the wire metallic device, right? So this, I'm just trying to tie this character to this. He was the first character in office who openly talked about 5G and 6G. So this ties him into the antenna. Okay, the metallic structure that captures and transmits radio electromagnetic waves. And we know that technology interferes with and interrupts biology. Technology mimics biology. These creatures are mimetic. It's all about mimicry. Any technology is based on biology. And it's crazy because we have become so wholly dependent on technology. We think that that's how things are supposed to be, you know? But right now it's being used to interrupt or interfere with the biology, you know? And there's a sister who used to talk about this technology and the interference, but I went to look her up and all her videos have disappeared. I don't know if she took them out but once she puts them back up, I will connect you to her because she does an excellent job of talking about this technology trafficking and interference and all that, okay? Ephesians 2:2 says, wherein in time past ye walked according to the course of this world, according to the prince of the power of the air, the spirit that now worketh in the children of disobedience. This is what they're talking about. Okay? This is all tied into this. Okay, and this is what that's talking about. Okay, now we'll look at Antarctica. That's the next definition. Look, this word itself, Antarctica, if I break it up, it could be Ant-Arctica, the ark. Is it this Ant-Ark against the Ark of the Covenant? Like the opposite of the Ark of the Covenant? You know, I'm just wondering. Let's see what's happening in Antarctica. So recently in 2021, the world leaders went to Antarctica, right? And they even tweeted about it, and pay attention to their tweets, okay? It's home to giants just like Mount Rushmore and many other places like Kabul. Are these their ancestors? Are they planning on bringing them back to life? You know? This character talks about Antarctica, and his administration was the first to present a new national security and defense strategy for the polar region, titled Memorandum of Safeguarding U.S. National Interest in the Arctic and Antarctic Region. It was the first time that strategic issues in both polar regions were treated in tandem. The memorandum calls for the development of a ready, capable, and available fleet of polar security icebreakers that is operationally tested and fully deployable by fiscal year 2029. Why 2029? Is this when they have to make an escape? Is that when they'll be chased out of here? This one says, will he disclosed Antarctica discovery to start economic boom? If you have watched the Christopher Columbus video on this channel, you know what disclose and discover mean. And also the word economy, I haven't talked about it, has a other different meaning than how we commonly use it. And when I talk about science and the Vimana, I will explain the meaning of that word and see how it ties on to all this, you know. They use word magic, or like I like to call it all straight up witchcraft, but him being the first to do all these things ties him to that Antarctica, okay? And like I said, I think this Antarctica is a memorial. This is me thinking, just like Mount Rushmore, you know, and I think there's giants buried under there. You know, this like, is it a headstone? A tombstone, you know? It's a memorial. And it tells us of the ancestry of these people, including this one, you know, who claims he would be on Mount Rushmore if he were a Democrat. I hope I'm giving you the preponderance of evidence, okay? Okay, now next is ant as a prefix. And this is the most classical and common application and use of the word. Okay, and let's look at 3. It says serving to prevent. To prevent who? To prevent what? The Christ? Or here combating or defending against. Against what? The Christ? The coming of the Christ? Is that what they're trying to stop? And here it says being composed of antimatter or antimatter. Look up the definition of matter, you know? And I could go off on a tangent with this, but I have to reel myself in and stay on topic for the sake of time mostly, really. I've seen people do 3-4 hour videos and I understand why they do them. Just like you start talking about one subject and then, for me, all my neurons start firing at the same time and there's too much information and I have to sit back and take a breather, you know, just to make sure that I'm staying on track. So next, let's look at I, and I have it highlighted as such for a reason, because in part 2 of this, I'll show you why. Okay. So what is I? Plural is eyes, or is, literally, is. Okay, and this is the 9th letter of the alphabet. It is the 3rd vowel, at least that's how it's commonly accepted, so we get the 39. But this capitalized is also the first Roman numeral, so we get 139. What does this number mean? Does anybody know? Okay, so, no, let me go back here. So the plural is. I'm going to focus on that. And then we get this. Here are 122 million reasons this guy is. And there's a reason they have it, this word in asterisks, you know. This is because this is this, which is the plural of this, which is this in the Antichrist. Okay, so I'm tying it in. You have to agree with me, you know. I'm tying it in all for you. So okay, now is again, we'll go to this definition for, and I could go through all this, but for the sake of time, for, I would do that if somebody came up and with more preponderance of evidence for another character, then I would have reason to go back and like touch on each and every one of these definitions. Anyway, let's look at this for, or from different individuals of the same species. When they speak of species, they're talking about specs or specifications. So remember the antennas? One of the definition is that it's a metallic apparatus for sending or receiving electromagnetic waves. So there's more than one entity or presentation of the same person, the doppelgangers, like I showed you, through engineering and manipulation, okay? So this character must have more than one of of him. Okay? And here we see there's two of this person. Okay? And these are reputable papers. They're just not anything. You know what I mean? So he fits this definition. Okay? Different individuals of the same species. Right? Okay, now let's look at I. Still on I, which when it's used as a connective vowel to join word elements, especially of Latin origin, like matrilineal. So it joins them, matrilineal, the line, the mother's line. Okay? Rat-e-side. Okay, I won't go through that. Matrilineal. So in this word, it would be joining the ant, the reptile, the Draco, and the Christ. Okay, let's see this. We have this billboard comparing this character to Jesus. Okay, billboard comparing this character to Jesus sought to redefine blasphemy, says pastor. They don't put these things up just for fun. Okay, this guy is auditioning and he's doing all he can to make sure that he gets the role. Okay, and look what it reads, Romans 8:17. And to us a son is given, and the government shall be upon his shoulders. And then they have this character, joint heirs. And then look at this name. I don't want to say those names. I just don't want to. Okay. And then now, so here they tie him to Jesus. And look here. This is a shape-shifting lizard. They tie him to a lizard. What are they doing? See, they're trying an impossibility, but you have to give them credit for trying. They get A for effort. They are relentless, and they come up with all sorts of shenanigans, to try to achieve what the autistic mind is set on doing. Okay, so I've tied him to that. The I as a connective vowel. Okay, now let's look at I as a symbol of iodine. Okay, so iodine, I don't want to read the whole thing. It melts to form a deep violet liquid and boils to a violet gas. So purple is violet, and this is a Phoenician color. They didn't make it, they just hijacked it, yeah? And these are people who these are the people who are in power kind of right now. These are the Is. Remember we saw Is, Ish, it doesn't matter how they present, as Persians or as Assyrian, or it's the same Is. Different, can I find that? Where is it? Let me see. Yeah, different individuals of the same species. That's who they are. Okay? So let's see. According to the New Testament, Jesus Christ, in the hours leading up to his crucifixion, was dressed in purple by the Roman garrison to mock his claim to be king of the Jews. What was the symbolism of dressing him in purple? What was the ritual? Okay, so the same people who crucified him are the same people who are trying to assume his identity. Like I said, let's not confuse with the names, Romans, Phoenicians, Syrians, Persians. It is the same entity. The Is, the Ish. Okay, still at it. And the color purple, or the purple dye. Remember that color purple with opera? Ish. The color purple, the purple dye, is what the Phoenicians were trading in. And that's a squid powder from the pterosaurus that we saw earlier. Yeah, and I know some smart Alec is going to tell me that, a squid is not a crustacean but a cephalopod. Yeah, same difference. Purple dye of the marine kingdom, okay? And also under the antenna, it's still the same thing. They have antenna and like these creatures over here, okay? And this might seem a little bit lame, but when he wears this tie, he's auditioning still. He's showing you, I mean, I fit the role in every which way. Pick me, you know? So, now let's look at iodine still. So iodine is in group 17 of the periodic table. You know, you count groups, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all the way to 17. 4, 5, 6. It's actually in the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 period. Okay, I didn't do anything about that, but it's a group 17, and the 17th letter is Q. And if you remember, during his administration, that's when QAnon was loud. And this QAnon movement began in 2017, or as you would say it, in 17. So this iodine being in the 17th group puts it as Q, and that's QAnon, and it ties him to that man. And by the way, QAnon is CNN, okay? Okay, now the haplogroup I is an interesting study. I have it here just to point you into an area of research, and for the sake of time, I will not discuss it now, but when I do the DNA series, I will talk about it. And also, haplogroup I for the mitochondrial DNA. I just want to show you something real quick, and research both of them, you know. This IM170 and this mtDNA. The haplogroup is unusual in that it is now widely distributed geographically, but is common in only a few small areas of East Africa, West Asia, and Europe. It is especially common among the El Molo and Rendile peoples of Kenya. El Molo, El Moloch, okay? Various regions of Iran, the Lemko people of Slovakia. His wife is a Slovak. I don't know what, she's not from Slovakia, but she's Slovak. And then we have Poland, then we have Ukraine in the news. The island of Krk in Croatia. Croatia, we know, has had its issues too. The Department of Finisterre in France, and some parts of Scotland and Ireland. All those are significant, okay? And then we also have here the I formation, which is an offensive football formation in which the running backs line up in a line directly behind the quarterback. And again, football is the most popular sport in America. And research that as well. I just don't want to go into all this others. It will take me 2 hours to finish part 1 of this presentation, and I don't want to have these videos too long, okay? So now, next let's look at the T here. It's another arrangement of this. Antichrist, we had the Antichrist. I've talked about the ant and the I. And now let's look at the T. So first I'll talk about titanium, okay? What is titanium? Titanium is where is it? Is a chemical element with the symbol Ti and atomic number 22. No. Okay, titanium is in, let me see if I can find the periodic table. Yeah, titanium is in group 4 of the periodic table, right? And period 4, these horizontal lines are called periods. So we have period 1, period 2, period 3, period 4, and this is group 4. So titanium is 44. He was the 44th person to be president, while his predecessor was the 44th president, but the 43rd person to be president. Yeah? Am I correct? I think so. So this is the nexus between these two people, and I will touch on it later at the end of the series, because these two are the people who take us or plan to take us out of this matrix, okay? And while I'm still here, I gotta show you something fun. So this 8, see, we have the 844 system. 8 that's in Kenya. The element here is iron, right? And then 4 is titanium. So iron is 84, titanium is 44. So this is 844. So we have Fe, Fe, iron and titanium. That's the fatty warp character, that one-eyed creature. One time is the right eye that's blind, and the left eye, you know. Anyway, I'm gonna segue right here into where was I? Titanium, yeah. Right here, I'm gonna do my usual segues a little bit here. Titanium and its compounds are used in the manufacture of white pigments, like basically titanium dioxide, smoke screens and catalysts, titanium tetrachloride. Its most useful properties are corrosion resistance and strength to density ratio. So it's used in the manufacture of smoke screens, and that's what this segue is about, the smoke screens. A smoke screen is a smoke released to mask the movement or location of military units such as infantry, tanks, aircraft, or ship. Basically, it's smoke released to mask the movement or location of anything. And these smoke screens are commonly deployed by a canister or generated by a vehicle such as a tank or a warship. This is a smoke screen. Let's see. See? Now you see, now you don't. That's a smoke screen. Okay? This smoke screen is incorporated into garments, much the same way like they're incorporating vitamin C into clothes. I don't know how they're doing that, but they are doing it. Okay? This smoke screen is the veil, is the vellum. Whatever level it occurs at is the veil, it's the vellum. So like in this case, we could not, once he puts that screen up, you can't see him being there. And if you can't see it, if you can't sense it, you will go right through it. It will not be manifest to you. Yeah, that's kind of not this topic here, but just know that those are the smoke screens that they're using. And remember when the Earth as a Ship, which is on this channel too, I hope you've watched it, I was trying to show you how the clouds, this is funnel smoke and these are the clouds. These ships make these clouds. Okay? And here we have World War II, a smoke generator being used to cover a bridge, you know, during the war. So it's been going on for a long time. So they're deploying this smoke both from the ground and from up in the air. And you know what is happening as the Earth turns and rights itself? It's correcting itself. A lot that has been hidden is being revealed. And now these smoke screens, the spraying and the obscuring is increasing even more and more to try and hide that. But these smoke screens have effects on our health. The chemicals used have effects on our health. You know, when we inhale them, we have those veils in our bodies. Then you know, that's why we can't perceive a lot of what's going on around us, you know. And if you want to know what a cloaked ship is, now you know. They're using smoke screens, literally, just to cloak those vessels so that you don't see them. See, I remember when I was young, sometimes the electricity would just go off suddenly, and the adults would tell us, oh, you know, the military is moving something. So they would just turn off power all over the country, completely gone. And then it would come back like after maybe 30 minutes to an hour, and they would say, yeah, they were moving something, you know. So I think it's the same thing, the strategies they use, you know. What is the 3-day of darkness? I'll talk about that too, you know. The navies turn to various chemicals such as titanium tetrachloride that produce a white low-lying cloud. So what are these clouds? This is your weather forecast Doppler radar, doppelganger, Doppler radar shows you this. Is this? So before they spray, during the spraying, and after the spraying, you can't see nothing across, okay? Well, it's safe to surmise that this spraying correlates with increased in certain health conditions, okay? And in this clip, I will show you how this is so, okay? They even talk about it. So here we'll see the chemicals they use and their effects on health. So where's that? Chemicals used. Okay, we have zinc chloride, chlorosulfuric acid, titanium tetrachloride, phosphorus, and the disulfonic acid, okay? So let's see the effects on health here. And please, when you have time, read through all of this. It's quite an interesting and informative read. So zinc chloride, its toxicity is caused mainly by the content of strongly acidic hydrochloric acid and the thermal effects of reaction of zinc with water. The effects are lesions of the mucous membranes of the upper airways. So you, all that difficulty breathing, it's because the membrane is compromised. Dyspnea, retrosternal pain, hoarseness, stridor, lacrimation, tearing, cough. See all this, okay? And they contain carcinogens. This is what people talk about all the time, and we dismiss them. The next one, chlorosulfuric acid, dense white fog of hydrochloric acid and sulfuric acid, highly irritating to eyes, nose, and skin. Let's see. Prickling sensation to the skin. It causes that. Severe irritation of the eyes, skin, and respiratory tract, and mild cough and moderate contact dermatitis can result. It causes acid burns of skin, eye damage, severe eye damage. Titanium tetrachloride, which I think is the most common one, is colorless, non-flammable, corrosive liquid. It's an irritant and unpleasant to breathe. Dispensed from aircraft to create vertical smoke curtains. That's it. Okay. It causes acid burns. Let's look at phosphorus. Red phosphorus and white phosphorus are red or waxy yellow white substances. Okay, what do they cause? Let's see. Cause only. Well, I missed that, but you can go back and read all that. And then we have the dyes. Scattering. Titanium dioxide was the most light scattering particle known, and therefore best for use in obscuring troops and naval vessels. Okay, so I went through that pretty quickly, but as you can see, it's very interesting. You need to go back and read that. And like I said, as the earth turns, a lot is being revealed, so the spraying increases. So now you have increased respiratory conditions at this time. Today is early 2023. You know, they're saying how there's just a lot of people are coming down with these respiratory conditions. Now you see where it's possibly coming from, yeah? Because of its non-corrosive properties, titanium is used in the food and health industry, you know, agriculture, dental, and other applications. This is all your food, okay? It has undesirable health consequences, okay? And research, read all this, okay? And remember when I talk about witchcraft, I say that contact must be made. contact must be made first. Okay? So are these elements they're using making contact? Is that how contact is being made? Okay? And then you have these entities riding on that. You see, when the Bible says that if you are of the light, they cannot touch you. But once you start getting compromised, they can come in. I will talk about health and healing. Actually, I'll start doing that soon because we need to prepare for ascension for those of us who are ascending or are supposed to ascend. And that has a lot to do with health, being healthy, detoxing, and all that, okay? So this is the end of the detour, as usual, the end of the segue. Let's go back to the Titans. So the Titans, and I did that in People Who's Who, were the former gods, the generation of gods preceding the Olympians. Okay, they were banished from the upper world after defeat in the 10-year war called the Titanomachy. As a result, they are held and imprisoned under guard in Tartarus. I think this is the Antarctica, if you ask me. Ik is nothing. Arctic. I think that's where they are. But some were allowed to remain free. Okay. And here we see this character lauds this character as a man of titanium. This man is Australian. And remember we saw, I hope you have your pen and paper writing all this down. We saw the dinosaur of a bat was found in Australia. But anyway, so this man lauds this man as a man of titanium, auditioning on the world stage. So he lauds him, and then he says, he heaped praise on the prime minister and spoke of eternal ties. These are infernal ties. So he's saying that they are linked somehow. They are tied somehow. They are the same. The is. The ish. Okay? That's what he's saying. And by the way, when this word is in this marks, what mark? Quotation marks, it's not a quotation mark, I forgot what you call it. This man of titanium, it's for a reason. It's a literal statement. Because why would they put it like that? It's because it's a literal statement. So these are both titans. They're of that ilk. Okay? And I hope you're making the connection as I'm giving you the preponderance of evidence here. So I'm just wondering, given this information, how does one explain the Titanic? Tell me why it sank. Was that war still going on? I don't know. Anyway, let's move on. First I define this, and I won't do this even though I can, but like I said, if somebody comes forth with preponderance of evidence showing that someone else fits the role better, then I'll define everything else that I didn't define or link him to that I didn't. Okay, so this one is still the 7th tone of the major scale in solfeggio. Is that how you say it? Also called C or SI, which is an acronym of IS. So it ties it back to I, is, ish. Okay, so let's look at solfeggio. Solfeggio hands, no? What is that? The 7th tone of the major scale in solfeggio. Then we have the solfeggio hands. More of that. So he's auditioning, when he says, people always tell me, "Ooh, you have the most beautiful hands." The way he talks. See, the person who's supposed to take this role must fit the role as closely as possible to eliminate the others. Okay? And I think this guy has done quite a job of trying to fit that role. Right? Remember, I won't summarize this. I hope you're taking notes. Otherwise, you're welcome to rewatch this thing again. Okay? despite of what one hears, they should be able to look and see what is going on around them. They should be able to connect the dots. Like you go to school and you get out and you can do nothing. No. That's the mistake that the schools are doing to our children and to us. Once I show you something, you should be able to look around and see it happening. It's a showing. Okay? A school is a showing. Okay? Education is showing. It's showing you what's going on and what's happening. I hope you had a pen and paper, okay, to jot this down. This is at the end of part 1. In part 2, I will show you how he is that character using the Bible definitions: little horn, man of sin, and beast of the sea, as is in Daniel's book, Thessalonians, and Revelations. Okay. Thank you very much for watching. I hope it makes sense. If it resonates, share, like, subscribe. Remember, all is truth. There can only be truth. Anything else is a distraction. Do not be distracted. Thank you very much, and see you in the next. Thank you.